welcome to the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast. I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. We have hit 300 episodes. It's a bit of a milestone, and first and foremost, thank you for listening, whether this is the first time you have tuned in or if you have been with me since the humble beginnings of this podcast. I'd say wherever we are is still quite humble, but if you've been with us for months or years, then thank you for listening and really making this possible. As I've always said about my writing and my podcasting, it'd be kind of fun to do it just for the sake of doing it, but it's a little bit more fun when I know folks are listening, reading, and ultimately interacting and getting some sort of benefit out of what I am doing and casting across. There's a lot we could talk about for our 300th episode, and if you have been with me for any length of time, you know I like to switch things up a little bit. If you are in the podcasting world, if you listen to a number of fly fishing podcasts or podcasts in general, you know that the format that I utilize here on Casting Across is a little bit different. There are very, very good podcasts out there that employ interview formats or kind of roundtable discussion, banter style formats, but I've chosen to go a different route because those are all out there. As far as I know, I think I'm the only guy who kind of just does a short magazine style podcast where I'm giving you 20 minutes of a topic and ultimately trying to steer you towards other content that is out there. But with that said, I do deviate from time to time from this format, and every 50 episodes since the 50th episode years ago, I have actually brought in special guests. Now, I could pull, because I've talked to some of these guys, some very popular and influential figures in the fly fishing industry. There's some great friends of mine, both that are on the education side, the guiding side, the industry side, for as far as gear goes. But I have chosen to interview family. And so for the 50th, 100th, 150th, 200th, 250th, you've met my boys. At present, I have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and they have been on in these previous milestone podcasts. But I've decided to switch that up one more time. And this is actually, I had a few people who reached out and wanted to know why my wife has not been on the podcast yet. And so without further ado, this episode is going to be called The Fly Fisherman's Wife. And so I will let the Fly Fisherman's wife introduce herself. So go ahead.
Hello, my name is Amanda, and I am married to Matt.
That's true. And how long have you been married to me for?
We have been married for 21 years.
21 glorious, beautiful years.
Of course.
Okay, so when did we start dating?
We started dating in high school.
That's right. And I was fly fishing at that time. So I don't know if you can recall, what were your thoughts about getting involved with somebody who had such a ridiculous niche hobby that took up so much time, money, etc.?
I don't know that fly fishing was the most ridiculous part of you when we were in high school, so I don't think I really thought about it a whole lot.
Okay, that's definitely fair. And if anyone has questions, comments, or accusations about that, you can send them in, Matthew at castingacross.com, and I'll happily answer them to the best of my ability. Okay, so we have a handful of things I want to run through with Amanda for today's podcast, things that I think that would be pertinent. So first and foremost, do you fish? Do you fly fish?
I do not.
Why not?
I appreciate it. I used to go fishing a lot as a kid. That was, like off the dock with a worm kind of thing with my family. And you and I have tried a few times, and I do appreciate it, and I can, enjoy it, but it's not something that I love to the level that you do. And there are other things that I do love, and especially at this stage in our life, that free time is a hot commodity. And so I choose to use that free time in other ways.
Okay, so before we switch back to why you hate fly fishing so much, can you tell everyone what you do enjoy outside? Because not fly fishing doesn't mean that you're not spending time kind of doing fly fishing adjacent activities. So what do you enjoy doing outside?
Well, you and I have always enjoyed hiking. That's always been a part of our relationship and our marriage. And it's been fun to include the boys in that. We also really enjoy being able to be on the water with our kayak and our canoe. Um, so I like to be outside. I like to garden. I like to, even just read outside or try to sketch something poorly, but um, just to be outside and enjoy and appreciate nature.
Yeah, that was always one of my ploys was we can go on vacation to Montana or to like the Caribbean and you can bring a book and sit and I can fish. And that's only happened a few times. I think is a very good opportunity that you have not capitalized on enough. But there's still time. We still have the back 2/3 of our marriage to look forward to. So, getting back to fly fishing, and it's clear that it's even though you're not fly fishing, you are around me, around the boys when we fish. You are around water. If the kayak that I use quite a bit for duck hunting and for fly fishing is actually yours. That was not an intentional Mother's Day gift to get myself a kayak, but you do like being out on the water. But I guess the question I would have would be, for someone who's fly fishing, whether they've just started doing it and they have a significant other, or they've been doing it for a long time and they're just getting into dating or something like that. What would be the wrong way for a fly fisher to introduce the sport and maybe even try to convince his or her significant other to get involved with it also?
Um, I would think probably too much pressure. I think that if it's something that you love, of course, it's wonderful to share the things that you love with the people that you love, but you also have to do that with the respect of what they love and appreciate. So you want to make sure that you are expressing what you enjoy and appreciate in a way that is enjoyable to others, but also leaving room for them to have their own preferences and opinions.
Okay, so because my preferences and opinions are just all over the place, both with fly fishing and other things, what are some of the things that even though you don't fish, and you've kind of mentioned before, you can appreciate aspects of fly fishing, and with casting across, I'm not talking just about how to catch trout and other fish. It's the whole quarry and culture of fly fishing thing, right? The people and places and things that go into the pursuit of fish. What are some of these kind of in the periphery aspects of fly fishing that have come into our home, come into our life, things that without even fly fishing, you can appreciate about the whole culture that I'm involved in?
I think that's a big question. I mean, I enjoy the excuse that it gives us to be able to go outside with our family. I appreciate just the beauty of the fish and how you're able to help our boys to be able to see that and the adventures that happen, even that are just, adjacent to fishing, whether that's rock scrambling or frog chasing or snake chasing or whatever. There's just a lot of fun to be had on the side of a river. Also, I have enjoyed watching you fly tie and being able to help our more artistic children be able to develop their skills with the fly tying and to see them get excited about it and to see different material that they find and think, oh, I can tie a fly with that, even if it's a little gross, like a clump of dog hair that they find. But it's fun to see them thinking about that and trying to be creative in that way.
Yeah, and that's something else that I think for is cool for me is integrating it into education. I mean, you didn't talk about what you do. What do you do? What's your job?
I am in the highly paid field of being a homeschooling mom.
And so, trying to be as involved as I can be, given the other responsibilities I have, it's been a way to bring the boys alongside the fly fishing activities and adventures that we go on and incorporate that into things like their writing assignments, into science and things like that. I'm excited. I'm teaching a macroinvertebrates class to a bunch of homeschoolers at a homeschool co-op that our boys are part of this fall, and so it's fun to see things for the boys to see this, and I think by extension, other people, other parents, and other people who are watching how there's all these auxiliary aspects to a hobby and to a passion that can have a educational and even just a kind of a greater edifying aspect. So along those lines, what would you say is the least intrusive hobby I have to our life, either our life as a couple or our life as a family? So let's say between duck hunting, running, books, and fly fishing, which is the least obtrusive in your opinion?
Well, I think books would be the easiest answer just because that's an addiction we both share. But I think that we've worked hard over the years to be able to find ways to balance out all of our different hobbies and negotiate the amount of time and space that they take up and feel like we're in a pretty good place um, with those things.
Okay, so back to fly fishing books. So the we actually just wrapped up reading together A River Runs Through It, and the reason, well, why don't you say why we read that together?
I have a literary podcast that I listen to pretty regularly, and that has been on the list of books that they've covered. And I know it's a book that you enjoyed and thought that would be a fun thing for us to read together.
Yeah, I think so. A couple nights ago, we finished it. It's certainly not a long read, and I would say if you've only seen the film, while the film is great, the book is, as often the case, better. And so I would encourage you, the listener, if you have not read it, pick it up. 120 pages. You can do it. I believe in you. That's 10 pages a day over the course of 2 weeks, taking 2 days off. That's the way I think about such things. Observations from the book, since this is the first time that you've read it, and you've known the big cultural impact it's had on fly fishing.
I think overall it's just a really beautiful piece of literature. The writing is really excellent, the description is amazing. And I think it's really neat how he's able to take something that is such a um, niche hobby and be able to write about it in a way that is just really beautiful and how people can appreciate the art form that goes into fly fishing and so many aspects of it from casting to reading the river to fly selection. It just is a really beautiful piece of literature.
Yeah, it's so she's going through the bookshelf right now trying to find the next book that we're going to read. I think maybe we'll go to a fly tying manual and just read lists of feather sizes and things like that, especially as nights get later and we need to fall asleep. That'd probably be the thing to do. Okay, more fly fishing questions I have for you. How many fly rods is too many fly rods for one man to own?
Probably for the sake of our marriage, I shouldn't answer that, but you've done a really good job of squirreling them away.
They, that's the key. You don't show them off. You keep them hidden and you never make sure that they're all in one place. That's like a security thing. Like, you don't want all your money to be in one bank. There's no FDIC insurance for fly rods. So you spread them out or multiple places and you can never see them all at the same time. Okay. How much is too much money to spend for a fly rod?
I don't feel like I should answer that question either.
Okay. That's good. So the answer is there is not too much money one could spend on a fly rod.
I'm not sure that that's the case either.
Okay, most ridiculous piece of fishing related clothing that either you've seen just in the wild or you've seen me wear.
I mean, those shorts you have are pretty special.
You have to, this is a podcast, there's no pictures, so you have to describe those
Well,
shorts.
what they're like a khaki short, right?
Yeah, they're
Yeah, they're
khakis.
khakis and they have embroidered flies all over them.
They're beautiful. I get nothing but compliments, much to your chagrin. So, we obviously have so we've been married for over 20 years, and we've been on a number of adventures, and a lot of those adventures have included fly fishing. So I feel like every time we've taken a major trip, the fly rod has come along. What is the way that in your opinion, the way that someone like me can enjoy a relationship with someone like you, and vice versa, and bring a fly rod along without being a nuisance or taking away from a getaway, a vacation, something like that.
Yeah, I think that that's just something that, again, we've had to negotiate over the years and just communicate and being able to make sure that both of us are being able to spend our time in the way that we would like to on vacation, and make room for each other to explore the ways that we both need to relax. So I think as long as it's done respectfully, then it can be a good way to add to the vacation.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think that there's. I've done better recently. I think early on it was definitely forced, but I think we've gotten into a good rhythm, which you could certainly say applies to all aspects of marriage and any relationship. I'm bouncing around. Another question. You've watched me try to introduce the boys to fly fishing and take them and try to teach them and things like that. What are your observations for the ways that have been successful and the ways that maybe have not been so successful in bringing the boys along with me into fly fishing?
I think the best strategy has been bringing them along with no expectations and allowing them to find their own way to enjoying and appreciate being on the water. Again, we have boys that we have taken outside and gone hiking since they were born. And so they all enjoy being outside. But not all of them have really found a love for fly fishing. Some of them just don't have the attention span yet. And others have developed it over the time. And I really appreciate how we have some kids that really want to be on the water with their line in the water, and other boys who are just honestly more content to chase snakes and frogs and climb rocks. And, as long as they're not kicking rocks into the water, you've had to work to allow that to be their happy experience. And I think that that has resulted in kids that enjoy being with you and enjoy being part of fishing, even if it's not necessarily in the same way that you enjoy fishing.
Yeah, I think, like you said, me getting to the point where them just enjoying being around was and something that I don't feel like I did perfectly, but I think I did pretty well. Especially, saying, well, here's a spinning rod. Let's do this. Some fishing is better than no fishing, and being outside is better than being inside. And so, just really guiding them in that and fostering in them the appreciation of the bigger picture. And particularly for our oldest, that has turned around where fly fishing has been something that he's really kind of circled back to after not wanting to really mess with it for quite a while. That was actually at the fly fishing show back in January that kind of popped up that he wanted to do it. So I've dragged. I have brought you along to fly fishing shows. Actually, the first fly fishing show that I went to as an adult, you were pregnant with our first child. But since then, as I've been involved, either helping people out with retail or doing other things for Casting Across, I've been able to bring you and the boys along. So, what have you been your observations with seeing the belly of the beast and all of the trucker hats and flannel and beards and weirdness? What is your observation of that group?
Um, Well, it's the fly fishing day. The fly fishing show day is always on our calendar now, especially as our boys have gotten older. Um, and it is actually a fun time, even though, like I said, I don't necessarily fly fish myself. I have enjoyed going and tagging along and getting to meet different people and get to see the same people over the years. And it's really neat to be able to see people who have devoted a lot of their life and their time to um, the different aspects of the industry of fly fishing. It's really cool to see all the different fly tires and just the art form that they have really worked hard to perfect in themselves, and the craftsmanship that goes into so many of the different elements of fly fishing and the things that you can get there. So it's really cool to go and see the vendors and just to be able to talk to people about something that they really love and are devoted to. And I think that's something that even if you're not in love with it yourself, it's very easy to go and appreciate something that other people have really fallen in love with.
Well, along those same lines, so you've always been so supportive of casting across ever since I came home from a long fishing weekend and said, you know what, I think I might want to start writing. I think we only had one child at that point in time, or you might have been pregnant with our second child. And you've always been very supportive of casting across. You've always been supportive of the kind of the extra fishing that it entails and some of the other activities. With that said, and kind of as we're wrapping things up, if like I couldn't talk anymore and I had prepaid for a website and a podcast and all this sort of stuff, and we're like, we got to really get the value out of this, and you had to do something, not fly fishing, but you had to not that you don't do things now, you know what I mean? If you had to be creative in this way and get, just droves of people to listen to you talk about something and read things, what topic would you choose and why?
Um, wow, that's a surprise
Yeah,
question.
I don't prep people with questions. That's foolishness.
Um, well, I guess the answer that pops into my mind is, like I said, I'm a homeschooling mom, and that takes up most of my time and my days. And I try to spend a lot of time reading about not just what my kids are doing, but also just the process of education and furthering my own education. So I guess that would probably be the easiest thing for me to talk about because it's what I spend so much of my time doing is parenting our kids and trying to grow as an educator and helping them to grow as young men. So I certainly don't have answers or am not an expert in that field whatsoever, but that would be the thing that I spend a lot of my time thinking about.
Well, I think that anyone who listens to this knows that not having answers and not being an expert is par for the course around here. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This is your first podcast interview. And this is the first time I've interviewed a woman on live on the air. It's the first time I've interviewed an adult live on the air. There's so many firsts that I'm hitting just now at 300 episodes, but I truly do appreciate that you have not just walked through this last 20 minutes with me, but all of the fishing that you have endured and experienced for really going on 25 years of knowing each other and being in each other's lives, and how much you have really supported casting across a lot of ideas. Some of the best ideas that y'all hear and read either came from Amanda in some way or have been bounced off of her. And so, if you are an angler, you really would do well to have a spouse like I do. Very, very supportive and in all sorts of ways, not just as an angling wife, but also as just a wife in general,
Not untire.
as a not entire. Yes, I can actually. That's a good story. So more than once, I've gotten like way too ambitious with switching out fly line and have not taken the time to like do it slowly, and it just gets out of control and knotted up. And especially once you get down like below 5 weight, those diameters get small, and if it gets pulled tight, then you know that that PVC compresses against each other. I don't have fingernails, generally speaking, so I remember back in our first house when we first got married. We were living in a single wide trailer. We were
We were so broke.
we were so broke, and we were. I was 19. She was older than that, just by a month. And I remember we had the whole entire length of this, and I had fly line like from the kitchen to the bedroom, the entire length of this thing. And she came home from work, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I basically said, "I need help," and that's happened multiple times. Like I still do that too fast, but now I just feel bad making her help me with that. So I was saying something sweet, and then you said that. Yes, you're a good mom. You're a great mom. You're the best mom I can ask for my kids. A wonderful educator of them. You are a huge asset to our church and my ministry. And you're just a generally great person. And I can't imagine a better guest. You should see the names I turned down for this. I mean, the fly fishing Mount Rushmore. I said, nope, it's my wife. That's who I'm having on. So thank you, Amanda. I'm not going to get mushy on the air, but I do again appreciate you and appreciate being on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Okay, well, shifting gears from that, it's definitely not going to be as exciting. And I wonder, maybe you just have to wait 300 more episodes to hear Amanda on again. Or she might elbow her way in the future, but I wouldn't put money on it. All right. That said, this week on the podcast, the first article that came out was called Watch Out, a Fly Fishing Podcast. So I have put this podcast on YouTube, only because YouTube asked me to do it. But I get why that could be beneficial. So if you sit at your desk, this would be the easiest way to do it, I imagine, as opposed to streaming it through your phone or through something else. So now if you go to youtube.com, http:// So if you go to YouTube, you go to my my YouTube channel, then you can find the podcast there. And I'd like to find a way to make it cleaner, but right now everything's all mixed in with everything else. But it's cool that, then you go to a podcast and it gives you things that are related to it. Not a lot on the casting cross side, but across the fly fishing world, which is, in my opinion, awesome, because that's what I desire for you to go find more stuff, different voices. Wednesday's article was called Studying Foreign Waters. So the setup for this article is that Amanda and I got away for our anniversary last weekend, and we were in a town that has like 5 or 6 used bookstores, and we spent an absurd amount of time scrolling. That shows you what we do these days. Walking down these aisles and scanning these stacks, looking for different books. And of course, along with some of the other things I'm into, I was looking for fly fishing books. And for me, I really have enjoyed finding books about particular waters and people's experiences on them. So I found a book called Never Sink by a gent named Leonard M. Wright Jr., I believe. And so I wrote about finding that book and reasons why you'd want to read about some place that you might not fish and might not even ever fish. So that is what you would find on this Wednesday article. This week's recommendation on the podcast. I do this every once in a while, and I figure the 300th episode is a great time to do it. Please suggest the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast and the website to somebody you know who is into fly fishing or who is getting into fly fishing. If they're just getting into fly fishing, I have that stretch of episodes called the Cast 1 series, all very basic information that anybody can grab onto and help them in their pursuit of fish. If they've been fly fishing for a long time, tell them that there's all sorts of minutia and other aspects of fly fishing that are involved in casting across. I have the fly shop directory with over 400 fly shops in it. There's dozens of book reviews and countless other things that you can find on casting across. I would truly appreciate it. I enjoy the fact that my marketing is you. I don't spend money on it. I just really appreciate the fact that that's the most organic way that things can be spread. And if somebody likes it, then the way that they talk about it is going to be infectious. So once more, if you've been listening for the 27 minutes or you've been listening for 270 episodes, thank you so much for being a part of the Casting Across world, the small world that it is, the website and the podcast. And for all the years that I've been doing this, I really, really appreciate it. So as always, reach out, Matthew@castingacross.com. I'd love to hear any feedback, questions, comments, or if they may arise, accusations. Thanks for listening to the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app and then rate the podcast in Apple and in Spotify. Then head over to castingacross.com for 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.